Hi everyone. So here I wanted to look at Trump's Supreme Court nominee Brett Kavanaugh, who allegedly sexually assaulted Christine Blasey Ford in the early 80s when they were a high school student at a party. An allegation Brett Kavanaugh denied. So I'm here a little bit biased. To me, the people Trump nominates and hangs out with are sketchy at best. And so I'm a little bit suspicious about this candidate. But nevertheless, I try to look at this as much unbiased as possible. In front of the Senate, both gave testimonies. First, Christine Blasey Ford gave a testimony which was quite believable, quite fine, and so I didn't want to talk about it. The only thing is she had a little girl-like voice, so that was either to make her look innocent, or some people like said might be also stuck in the past because of these dramatic events. And then there was sort of neuroscience jargon. I don't know why she did that, maybe to sound eloquent and educated, that she's an expert, but overall I thought it was quite believable. Similar, I think, Brett Kavanaugh. He was more angry in his testimony, but that's also congruent with someone who might be innocent and so is outraged. So both of these things are fine. So all I wanted to do now is briefly look at that interview he gave with his wife at Fox News and thinks there are a number of red flags. Okay, let's have a quick look.
I am looking for a fair process, a process where I can defend my integrity.
He keeps repeating the fair process and trying to defend his integrity. So that might be the lawyer speaking, so he doesn't say the wrong thing. His speaking is very narrowly confined, so he doesn't go overboard. He doesn't give any anecdotes about his youth to explain, how it was like in high school. He's not giving any information, so that's already problematic. If you don't lie, you would be more openly speaking.
And clear my name. And all
it's basically all he says.
Is fairness. That I be heard in this process.
So he uses process a lot instead of talking about a big promotion to become Supreme Court judge. So that's also slightly odd.
This process is incredibly difficult, harder than we imagined. And we imagined.
So I don't like the word process. It's just very impersonal and it's sort of distancing himself from the nomination and that big promotion effect. It's a little bit insulting to everyone else.
At the end of the day, our faith is strong and
he seems somehow very slow somehow. I don't know if he took some medication to calm down.
Let's get into some of these allegations. She said she was afraid that she could inadvertently be killed at that moment. She says that you tried.
So these pursed lips are indication of suppressed anger, or these white jars. So he's a person who has probably anger issues and even the line going down here between his eyes. So he might be quite an angry man. Also, he seems extremely calm, almost like sedated. So I could very much believe that a personality with his face can be quite angry and aggressive.
To take off her clothes, and she believes that you would have raped her if Mark Judge hadn't climbed on top and everyone tumbled to the floor, and then she had an opportunity.
There's no emotions. That's also the issue. When you are accused of something you didn't do, you get angry and you show that. He's completely calm, trying to control his emotions. He's a little bit like Scott Peterson, just staring down the interviewer.
I've never sexually assaulted anyone, not in high school, not ever. I've always treated women with dignity and respect.
So he keeps saying the same phrases. So this is quite problematic because also he says quite clearly he didn't do it, which is a very positive thing. He's basically repeating something out of memory. He's not coming up with a statement spontaneously. He uses the same words, so he doesn't go off limits. You can, of course, rehearse a statement which normally spontaneously would be very hard to give.
Listen to the people who've known me best through my whole life. The women who've known me since high school. The 65 who overnight signed a letter.
So I find this also problematic. I mean, if I think of high school, I wouldn't even get 5 women to sign a letter. So 65, it was ages ago. I mean, this is just suspicious.
From high school, saying I always treated them with dignity and respect.
Dignity and respect. When we were 17, we didn't think of dignity and respect. Basically kids, teenagers. It just doesn't sound right.
This isn't all I'm asking for is a fair
So now he keeps repeating the same thing.
I can be heard.
And
so a fair process, it's of course very different from saying I didn't do it. Could be guilty in wanting a fair process.
That maybe she misunderstood the exchange that you had. Nothing ever
very
physical.
good.
You never
She's
met
quite
her,
good actually.
Never kissed her, never touched her.
Trying to make it sound normal and getting on his side to get his trust.
I've never had any sexual or physical activity with Dr. Ford. I've never sexually assaulted anyone in high school or otherwise.
So he keeps repeating the same thing.
Why would she make this up?
And it's good that she's
What
interrupting.
I know is the truth, and the truth is I've never sexually assaulted
So again, he's
anyone
going in this
high school
memorized
or otherwise.
line.
I'm not questioning if I had done that, it would have been the talk of campus. We have the report saying.
So he's basically staring her down,
the last few weeks.
but somehow told him, don't forget to blink, and that's what it looks like. He also says often it would have been talk on campus. These are phrases he memorized ahead of time.
Always treated women with dignity and respect.
He keeps saying the same thing.
Funny. A letter from friends I knew in high school, produced overnight, 60.
Ever aware of any gang rape that happened at a party that you attended?
That's totally false and outrageous.
So,
Never done any such thing. No.
so here, if he wouldn't have done it, he would get angry. He would get really angry at this moment, being accused of gang rape.
Not any such thing.
He
When I
just
was in high
stays
school,
calm.
And I went to an all-boys Catholic high school, a Jesuit high school, where I was focused on academics and athletics.
Okay, blah, blah, blah.
That's not what we're talking about.
He's still staring
We're
at
talking
her.
about an allegation of sexual assault. I've never sexually assaulted anyone.
Okay,
I did not have
blah,
sexual
blah.
intercourse.
Now it gets
or
interesting.
anything close to sexual intercourse in high school or for many years thereafter. And the girls from the schools I went to and I were friends.
So you're saying that through all these years that are in question, you were a virgin?
That's correct.
Never had sexual intercourse with anyone in high school?
Correct.
And through what years in college, since we're probing into your personal life here?
Many years after. I'll leave it at that. Many years
Oh
after.
man, oh man.
And the people I went to high school.
Partying like a rock star, never getting laid. I mean, this is just lame. I don't know what else to say.
Should anything they did then follow them later in life, or should it enter into any decisions made about them later in life?
What I'm here to do is tell you the truth. And this allegation.
So he doesn't even go into her question. He just stays in his narrow
Essentially,
perimeter
what you're
of
being
allowed
accused of,
answers.
Just as a judge.
I've led a good life. I've tried to do a lot of good for a lot of people.
Shaking his head, so it's not true. Let's briefly look at Republican Senator Lindsey Graham questioning Kavanaugh and the additional red flags.
If you wanted an FBI investigation, you could have come to us.
So I don't like at all how he takes pleasure in Graham attacking the Democratic senators. He's looking to the left and he's looking to the right to the Democratic senators, and he takes huge pleasure. So I think this is highly problematic for a non-partisan Supreme Court judge. Here already you can see how partisan he is and how he takes pleasure in other people being cut down, his enemies being cut down. This is impossible behavior, actually.
What you want to do is destroy this guy's life, hold this seat open, and hope you win in 2020. You said that.
Here again, to me, this is a sadistical face.
You've got nothing to apologize for. Myron Kagan, tell him that Lindsay said all.
Pursed lips, so again, he's actually quite angry on the inside.
I voted for them. I would never do to them what you've done to this guy. This is the most unethical sham since I've been in politics. And if you really wanted to know the truth, you sure as hell wouldn't have done what you've done to this guy.
He just... When you really want to know the truth, and he pulled up the sides of his mouth, the sign of disgust. I don't know. He does this quite a lot, actually, also in his testimony. So there's some anger and disgust going on in this guy.
Are you a gang rapist?
No.
Very good. Fantastic. So here you can see the expectation being not fulfilled. This is an embarrassing moment, a big gap. If you are accused of gang rape and you didn't do that, you would be outraged. You would say, of course not. What a stupid question. Maybe not in these words. But you would not say completely calm no and not say anything else. There's no emotions going on in him. He must be outraged if he didn't do it. He's even more outraged. And he even expects him to give more feedback. So he can work with that feedback because he is completely worked up. And he can't even work with that guy. He's to keep now artificially his anger going. He can't feed on his behaviors. There's no feedback here. This is just embarrassing. And of course, this is highly problematic. This says it all, in my opinion. So to me, this guy has anger issues. He's full of disgust. He is partisan. He's basically a hypocrite. And I would certainly not want him as a judge in the Supreme Court. Okay, so I try to be unbiased, but it went out of the door quite early, I think. I still hope you liked my analysis and talk to you next time. Bye.